Hello everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. My name is Violet Fairy. I'm the creator of Plus Minus Zero, and I'm so grateful that you're all tuning in for our special release day broadcast. Very exciting to celebrate this game finally coming out. If you are unaware, Plus Minus Zero is a bittersweet slice of life visual novel about a robot girl studying what it means to be human. Today we're going to be playing through the first few scenes of the game, and as we go periodically I will be pausing to do a round of some Q&A style questions that are provided courtesy of a few of my friends and also of course my wonderful playtesters. So before we go in, actually, let me just say big thanks to Vincent and Ben. You two were instrumental in making this game as polished and coherent as it is. So thank you so much for your hard work. And also thanks to the folks that made these fonts that we used in the game. Your work is appreciated. So with all of that said, let's get into the story right away, and after a little bit we'll start with questions. Here we go. That's right, I gotta do voices. Okay. Alright, what's a teacher sound like? Alright everyone, settle down. You aren't paying tuition to talk through my class. Now, before we begin, it's time to welcome a new student. Hey, you never welcomed me when I transferred in. Yes, Mia, this is something of a special case. Now, if we have no further objections... This is why you should focus on your notes, Mia. Can it, Lavender? Excellent. Then please join me in welcoming... And here we get our first dialogue choice. So, one thing you will probably notice right away is that this game has some pseudocode looking stuff going on. We'll get into that a little more later. This isn't any real code, but the hope is that it will be legible even to our non-coders. But it seems like this decision is how we'll introduce ourselves, so what do we think? It's gotta be overly hyper, no contest. Boom. Alright, we've made our decision. Hi everyone, I am so excited to be in college. I will learn everything about you. I love you all. Can we be friends? I understand you may be nervous. Why not try that again? No, thank you. I see. Well then, why not tell everyone your name? My name is Clover, and I am an android. A robot, and she's talking? Shush, I'm listening. I was created with a simple purpose. Gather a record, become a stainless log of perfect data of what it is to be human. Yes, I've recently finished building CLVR4 here, and as of today, she will begin her project. She is here to live a normal college life alongside you all, gathering data on all she can. Thoughts, feelings, her physicality, everything. Can she really, get data on all that? Of course! I am told I am the most sophisticated robot currently present in this world. My mind was built to extraordinary specifications. I can even dream. Now, if Clover is to gather truly perfect data, she cannot live in our lab anymore. She is here to research as much human experiences as she can, or as many human experiences as she can. Think of her as an exchange student. As such, she needs someone to shadow. Any volunteers? Very well. Any volunteers for extra credit? Well, maybe I could leave it to me, Mr. A. Good, your grade needs it, Mia. See that CLVR4 collects all the data she can. And welcome, Clover, our first android student. So welcome to the story, everyone. This is Clover, our wonderful robot protagonist. Right away, you might notice she's got some LED stuff going on. As you play, make sure to move the mouse around and you'll be able to change the color of her lights. So there's no correct color or anything, but you're free to change the visuals however you think best fits the situation. I like a warm orange feels right here for a welcoming scene. I think this is also a great point to pause for our first round of questions. So, to start off, what kind of audience is plus minus zero for? Okay, pretty straightforward. So, I would say, in general, if you are a fan of any games in the sort of indie visual novel scene, like if you're a Renpai gamer, then you'll probably enjoy this. Similarly, it's a very small scale and heartfelt visual novel where it's very similar to the sort of games you find in that scene. So this game, for me, it has a runtime of around 40 minutes, but also I'm a slower reader, so for all of you playing at home, I'd expect probably like 20 to 50 minutes of content. So if you enjoy like a nice bite-sized, well, maybe bigger than bite-sized, but a nice, very like focused visual novel, this is definitely for you. And also if you're a fan of robot girl characters, like for myself, I'm a big fan of Vocaloid, so like I think the cleanest way to say this is if the song Machine Love resonates with you in some way, then this game is absolutely for you. That is the cleanest way I can describe the target audience of this. And second question, what games is plus minus zero similar to? That's going to be honestly kind of a similar answer to the earlier question. Just it's hard to pin down a specific reference because, right, thematically, this is a lot different than a lot of the other visual novels that I've personally played. So, right, I can't say specifically like, oh, this game's just like Butterfly Soup, because, like, no, that game is about its own very specific things. That's not this game, but yeah, it's in the ballpark where, like, if you're a fan of Butterfly Soup or something like that, you'll probably like this. So what game is it similar to? Take your pick of your favorite visual novel, I guess. And yeah, we'll do one more before moving on. What kinds of emotional themes are explored in this story? Ooh, okay. Deep one right away. What's the right amount to say without surfacing any subtext? Yeah, I think broad strokes, the biggest themes are probably this game is about finding a lot of joy and specialness in the mundane, finding a lot of joy and importance in the relationships in your life, like right, friendships or otherwise. And I think also, okay, without getting too in detail about what happens later on, I would say there's also an element of what happens when two people have thought processes that don't exactly line up and no one's really doing something bad, but it's still rough. I don't know. Maybe that's too much already. I'll leave it there. If you want to know what I'm verbally vague posting about, go play the game yourself. Speaking of playing the game, I think it's time to keep moving forward into the story. Thank you very much, everyone. One class later. And Mr. A just doesn't stop talking. Yes, it was difficult to write notes at pace with his lecture. Thank you for giving me a notebook to use, Mia. Hey, no sweat. Easier than writing notes myself. Did you trick Clover into taking notes for you? Do not worry, Lavender. I was happy to. In fact, I had fun. It was my first time taking notes after all. Fun, really? And I am happy to be talking to you two. You are my first friends. And this is my first time leaving a class. I have learned so much, and it is only my first day. So already you're seeing Clover being this very starry-eyed person and thinking of all of these things as special. But another thing I wanted to pause and point out here, you may have noticed that Clover has this sort of debug log window type thing here. So this is not any real code running in the game. This is again pseudocode like we saw in the dialogue choice, but as Clover speaks, because she's a robot, we also get a little window into what's going on under the hood. So earlier we saw her saying a lot of like pretty rehearsed introductions, and now here we're seeing her doing a lot of expressing how she's feeling and what she's thinking of the world around her. So keep an eye on that window as the story goes on, and you might find some surprises about how Clover's feeling. And while we're paused, let's actually take one more question here. Why is the robot named Clover? I think that question was from actually both Ben and Vincent, so why is she named Clover? Number one, it just kind of sounded right. A lot of the names in this game are vibes based, but also Clover is one thing we'll see throughout the story is that, I mean, even visually, Clover is at once very human and also very visibly robotic. So throughout the story, I'm trying to keep both of those themes at the forefront. So to kind of balance those scales, I think naming her after something organic, like literally a plant, sort of puts more weight on that organic versus robotic side, and I think that's part of the reason. Also, you know, you could put some other little cutesy things into it, like, oh, she thinks she's very lucky to experience all of this and going on in the world. Lucky Clover, ha ha ha. But mostly it's about sort of that balance between her organic and robotic natures. And oh, second part to the question, how did you come up with the names of the other characters? So first off, Professor A. That name actually started out as almost a filler. It's like you'd say like townsperson A, tree A. It's a filler name essentially. Like, here I am, game developer A. So he started out as Professor A, and then I was like, hey, that just works. We're keeping it. And also the title Professor to help establish the setting, because we gotta be efficient in this story. And then Mia and Lavender, both of them, those names are also similarly pretty much vibes based, but also they do have some information to try and communicate very efficiently in the story, because actually, yeah, whenever a character talks here, like, we don't actually see them, we only see Clover, so I also need to efficiently convey some information about them. So basically, instead of being able to lean on a character design to communicate some of those first impressions, I'm leaning on their names. So Mia and Lavender, both of those are traditionally feminine names, like, you know, like so they're traditionally feminine names. So basically what I'm doing with those is trying to communicate, like, hey, this character is probably a girl, so right away just communicating that information, where otherwise in character design you might use a different signifier, like this character's in long hair, this character's wearing a skirt. So just kind of using those signifiers as a way to shorthand some stuff. And then also Mia has a very punchy personality, so giving her a short kind of punchy name, Mia, feels fitting. And then for Lavender, right, she has a bit of a gentler personality. It's more of a gentler, longer, flowy name. And also there's some I'll just say it outright. There's a little bit of, like, historically some queer subtext in the use of violets and lavender, and so right, I can't name her Violet. That's my name. That would feel like a self-insert. We're clearly not doing that, so at the very least, I want to at least hint a little bit like, maybe she's a lesbian, we'll find out, or maybe we won't. Read to see yourself. So in short, the names, A, just sounded nice, and B, communicate a little bit of first impression type information, since we need to lean on the names and voice rather than how the character looks. Right, let's move along. Anyway, Clover talking about how excited she is about everything new and suddenly interrupted. Clover? Whoa! Dude, I didn't know you could leave the classroom. What? I have a home and often walk across campus, Mia. I have a life. Are you still our professor out here? If I come in line ahead of you in the grocery store, do I lose points next exam? Was there something you needed, Professor A? Yes, Lavender. Thankfully, I caught up to Clover in time. Me? Is something the matter? You forgot your charger. Oh, thank you very much. I also packed your favorite books from the lab. Consider them a housewarming gift. Mia, Lavender, please take good care of her. Of course we will, Professor. And there he goes. Speaking of, what's up with that intro he gave you, that perfect data and junk? Mia, we shouldn't just... You're asking about my purpose? The professor exaggerates often. He enjoys the idea of perfection. I am acting as a record of human experience, so I must live a fulfilling life where I do my best like anyone else. It is that simple. As I live, my experiences, inputs, and outputs will be logged. When I die, they will be recovered for future study. So, like, you have to catalog every possible event in life or something? No, simply... Not everything, just as much as any other person would encounter in life, right? Precisely. I enjoy new things, but if I tried experiencing everything in the world, I would miss experiences like settling into a relaxing routine. So even something like that is special. I like that way of thinking about it. I don't know, I guess I get it, but what's the point of all that? My research is not its own end. Rather, I am meant as an exploratory precedent for further technology. For instance, a system similar to me could help study bias in subjective observational studies, Professor says. Despite those ambitions, how could I not be excited for this world full of possibility? Well, if you want lots of new things, we're by the field. Want to try soccer? Absolutely! Now, before we get into soccer, I think it's a good time for a few more questions. Ooh, okay. Who asked this one? This is a good one. What inspired you to make the game? So, I guess first part of the origin story, one of my friends actually started a game jam like a way long time ago. It was like, oh, let's all do a little narrative game. And so that was the birthplace of Plus Minus Zero, where after that initial weekend of getting started on it, I realized Yeah, this is actually pretty tough. I don't think this story actually fits into the amount I can write in one weekend. This feels like it's begging for something a little bit more fleshed out with time to breathe, so then this got turned into a big project. But as for actual like inspirations, I mean the biggest ones are just in general. I have a lot of thoughts about the use of robots in media. There's this like YouTube video essay I saw a while back about like using robots as like a metaphor for being transgender, and that was like a really cool video essay. And whether or not that's any part of the metaphor here in the game, that's up to you, the viewer, to decide. But aside from that, there are a lot of other ways that I really like using robots as a lens to filter things in a story. So part of it was just going like, yeah, I do have feelings about robots. I should write about that. And also it was partially, I name dropped, what was it, Machine Love earlier in the broadcast, but in general, I listen to a lot of Vocaloid, so that also gives me a lot of feelings about robots. For those not familiar, Vocaloid music uses synthesized voices to sing the songs rather than having a human sing it. So you're stringing together phonemes and pitching them up and down to simulate someone singing. And I mean, more than I could list off here, but there are a lot of really cool songs in this space that engage with that text of like, or not text, engage with the medium in a very direct way. Like, here is a song about how the singer is not human but is kind of pretending to be, and like why we create things and want robots to sing. And there's a lot of really great songs like that. So partially this is coming from a place of enjoying all of that, again having a lot of thoughts about robots and wanting to put some of those thoughts into a game. And additionally, again, this is where I'll get a little vaguer because I don't want to make it sound like there's any one intended takeaway from this game, but one of the other things that motivated it is there are certain things I enjoy representing in games, but is often hard to represent directly. And so partially this is an experiment at doing some indirect metaphor stuff to express some of the things that I wish we got to see in media more. And vague posting aside, okay, next question. This is a fun one. Yeah, I think this one was Vincent. Thanks for this one, Vincent. What are Clover's stats in D&D? So, Dungeons and Dragons time. Let's see. Clover is specified in the text to be able to be pretty strong because she is a robot. So, I think honestly maybe like +3 strength. Like, she is strong, especially when she like needs to be. Dexterity, I want to say like +1, but also for the sake of balancing this character, I'm probably going to say +0, ±0. And Constitution, again, I want to say like +1 because she's like built of metal, but I mean, she's got a lot of exposed joints here and stuff. Like, again, for the sake of character balance, I think we'll say -1 Constitution, but realistically it's probably a little higher. And let's see, then Intelligence, Wisdom, Charisma. Intelligence, I think right now she's at a +1 because she does have like a very strong mind and whatnot. She likes learning a lot, but also she's new to learning things, so right, she wouldn't be doing well on her like history rolls. So like on the character sheet, it's like a 13, so like next ability score increase, she's bumping that up to a +2. Wisdom, she is pretty good at noticing things, so we'll go +1 there again. And maybe +2. No, we'll go +1. Yeah. You know what? Putting my foot down. +2 wisdom. And also I think +2 charisma because she is a very charming robot. But I'm not going any higher than that because we do get to see later she is bad at jokes. And I think that is important to charisma. So yeah, there you go. +3, 0, -1, +1, +2, +2. And I will leave it up to you all to decide what class she is. At me with that if you have any good headcanons, because that would be cute. Anyway. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going. We have a few questions left, but we'll save those for later. Right, and Mia has invited Clover to join for some soccer. Absolutely. One lengthy explanation of rules later. Hey, your dribbling's not bad for a beginner. Try taking some shots on goal next. That'll be fun. Mia will show off her goalkeeping any chance she gets. My first soccer kick! Yes, ma'am, I will try my best. Ooh, we got our next choice. Okay, do we want to set our force variable to something reasonable or max it out? I want to max it out, but I feel like something bad is going to happen if I do. No, we're going to show an ounce of restraint, okay? Go with me on this. Clearly, this game has very high stakes. The game does have only one ending, but you do see a little bit of like momentarily different themes based on your choice, but I'm going moderate. I'm going to measure myself a little here. We're going to exhibit restraint. Set our force to 5.90. Hup. Hoof. Yes! Haha! Nice kick, but not nice enough. So close, Clover. Mia barely blocked it. Amazing, amazing. My first soccer kick. Well done blocking the soccer ball, Mia. Thanks, not bad yourself. 6 spin on that kick. Thank you. Love her getting to play games. She's playing games with her friends. You might have noticed by now, but I do enjoy slice of life. Ooh, also, fun facts if you want for Clover. There's a lot that goes into her character design. Like, again, part of it was like trying to find that balance between very human and also very visibly robotic. But also she has a lot of traits that are hodgepodge together from a lot of other like robot characters that I really like. Everything from like, originally there is like, the first thing I pulled as reference was at the local arcade there was, sorry, I just love talking about her design. At the local arcade there's this rhythm game, I don't know what it's called, but there's this robot girl in it that has this like super cool like rib cage design. And so for a long time in my notebook there's a bunch of drawings of early versions of Clover with like that ribcage motif, but it was just too gothic, so I went for this like half shell torso thing. But still she gets this like exposed heart, you know, doing metaphors about how she's very like open and expressive. See, I'm also, her hair used to be straight, but then I was like, she needs something more energetic and fun. So then we got this LED volume looking thing. See, I think, yeah, I have a video out on like YouTube Shorts or TikTok or whatever. If you want to hear more about her character design, go there. There's a bunch of fun references, but Honestly, I'm just thrilled seeing her out in the real world. I mean, I released the game. She gets to go out there and meet everyone. So proud of her. Well, I hope your first time playing soccer was fun. Wait a sec, how much can we ask you to try? Do you even do the boring stuff like cleaning the gear or putting things away? Ooh, let's see. So we can sort the storage room or carry the ball to the storage room, I'm assuming? I mean, one way or another, we are just using the equipment. We've got to clean it up. Let's carry ball to storage room. I could attempt to... Mia, I'm sure Clover would rather head home and relax for the evening. Home? I'll walk across campus later. Actually, I think that's probably a pretty good place to pause for now because, I mean, I can't go showing you everything in the game. You gotta play it yourself, so... If you enjoyed this, definitely make sure to download Plus Minus Zero for yourself. If you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, I think you'll definitely enjoy the full game. And as mentioned before, it is a bit bittersweet, so, you know, if all fluff isn't your style, it does get a little sadder later, so hey, if you're interested, check it out. And yeah, before we close out, I think this will be a good time actually for a couple more questions. Let's just save our progress. So, let's see. Okay, what was the most challenging part of development? Actually, I should hop back in to show this. So, most challenging part of development, honestly, the hardest was like having health issues going on that just slowed down production a lot. But aside from that, easily the hardest part of development was doing a custom dialogue system, which, if you're a developer watching this, I understand now that there's a good reason why everyone says not to build your own text engine. It's rough. There's a lot of great stuff already built out there. I tried making my own, partially to experiment and partially because of the very specific needs of this project, like having the parallel running dialogue and also internal thoughts essentially happening here, like you can see. That was a lot of work to get it all working together cleanly, so like, right, normally in a visual novel, when a line starts typing and you click, it advances the line automatically. But with something like this, you need to check that both of these lines have finished typing out. Like, you can't just say, is this finished typing? Great, move on, because then you have the internal thoughts advancing ahead of the spoken text and stuff like that. So, throughout development, this game was plagued with, like, desyncs between the two of these. And then in addition to that, we also periodically switch over to a totally different text box that doesn't have that sort of what I call shadow text. So just making all of that work normally was absolutely the biggest challenge. And let's see, next we have what was the hardest part about working on this as a solo dev. I mean, kind of the same answer, like, if I, you know, like, had chosen to work with a team, I could have had, like, an engineer build all of that, etc., etc. So I think the hardest part is just, you know, it takes longer doing everything yourself, though I am very glad I got to, because I do feel like I, you know, leveled up a lot of skills in this project. Like, here, I'm skipping forward ahead, like, painting all of these backgrounds took a really long time, but, like, I'm very proud with how a lot of these came out. Like, doing these definitely upped my art skills as a developer, and so I'm very excited to have that going forward into more projects. And also, I mean, you'll hear, like, in the credits of the game, like, I actually did a tiny bit of composing, which is one of those things that I have very rarely done before, so that was fun to, stretch out and try some new stuff. So, it's very challenging working as a solo dev, but also very rewarding. And lastly, ooh, this is a good one. What about Clover do you wish people can relate to? That is a tough one. Again, there are things that I could say that would surface some of the subtext, but I think that would do a disservice to the story and to you all, the players, because I don't really want to say, like, this is what I was thinking about when writing the story, and kind of imply that any other reading is less fair or valid. So I'll speak a little vaguely again, but for the people I had in mind while writing this, I hope that some of Clover's feelings feel familiar and, make your own, if you feel the things that Clover is feeling. I think it would be nice to, see someone else having those very particular feelings. So for some of the audience, I hope they see that. And more generally for everyone, I think, especially as the story goes on, we will see, and even already here we see it a bit, Clover she knows who she is, and she doesn't compromise that. Like, she very much stays true to herself, and I think that is a very beautiful characteristic for a character to have, and so I hope maybe people can aspirationally see themselves in that as, yeah, like I can stick to what makes me me. So with that, we are out of questions. Thank you all so much for tuning in again to the broadcast for the ±0 release. It's super exciting to have this game out finally. Thank you all so much for being here to enjoy it with me. And again, shout out to everyone who helped make this project what it is. Vincent, Ben, you two, whoop, bumped my mic. You two are absolute gems. So thank you so much for helping refine this story. And again, thank you so much to all of you for... Oh wait, why did I click that? Thank you so much to all of you for tuning in, checking out ±0. Again, if you liked what you saw here, you can download the game now. I absolutely think you will love it. Or hey, if you know a friend who's very into robots and that sort of media, absolutely let them know. Word of mouth helps a ton with small indie games like this, so thank you so much. Violet Fairy signing out. I had a wonderful time showing you all this game, and I hope you will enjoy ±0, Clover, and everything that this story has to hold. Go discover it yourself, check it out now, and I will see you later.